Have you ever wondered why two people can order the exact same steak, yet one gets a nod of approval from the chef, while the other secretly makes the entire kitchen groan? It turns out the way you order your steak says far more than you realize. Behind every cooking temperature is a fascinating story of science, history, culture, and even psychology. Before we dive in, make sure to subscribe to the Explanation Hub, turn on notifications, and join us for more fascinating breakdowns that reveal the hidden stories behind everyday things. Now, let's uncover what your steak order is really saying. The moment your server asks, "How would you like your steak cooked?" it sounds like a simple question, but inside a professional kitchen, that answer instantly tells the chef exactly how they'll prepare your meal, how much precision it requires, and sometimes even how experienced you are as a steak lover. Every temperature unlocks a completely different eating experience, and understanding why starts with the rarest option of all. Imagine placing a steak on a scorching hot grill for barely a minute on each side before it's served. The outside develops only the thinnest crust, while the inside remains almost completely raw and cool. This style is known as blue rare. Despite its unusual appearance, it isn't undercooked by accident. It is prepared this way intentionally for people who want to experience beef in its most natural form. The name comes from old French butchers who noticed that freshly cut raw beef often had a faint bluish tint before oxygen turned it bright red. Traditional French chefs embraced this style because almost no heat changes the meat's texture or flavor. The natural proteins remain nearly untouched, creating an incredibly soft bite that true meat purists appreciate. Although many luxury steakhouses will prepare a blue rare steak if requested, most casual restaurants rarely recommend it. It demands exceptional meat quality, perfect sanitation, and an experienced chef. One mistake with temperature or timing can ruin the entire dish, which is why many kitchens become nervous the moment someone orders it. Move just one step higher and you arrive at rare. At around 125 degrees Fahrenheit, the outside develops a rich brown crust, while the center stays deep red, warm, and incredibly tender. This is where real steak science begins. The beautiful brown surface isn't simply burnt meat. It's created by something called the Maillard reaction, one of the most important chemical reactions in cooking. When the surface reaches temperatures above roughly 280 degrees Fahrenheit, proteins and natural sugars combine to create hundreds of new flavor compounds. That is why a properly seared steak smells so irresistible before you even take your first bite. Because muscle is dense, heat moves toward the center surprisingly slowly. A skilled chef can create a perfectly caramelized exterior while keeping the middle beautifully rare. It's a balance of timing, temperature, and experience that takes years to master. For many steak lovers, however, the perfect balance arrives one step later with medium rare. This is the temperature nearly every professional chef recommends. Cooked to roughly 130 to 135 degrees, the center becomes warm, juicy, and bright pink while remaining exceptionally tender. This is also the point where fat begins working its magic. Tiny streaks of marbling hidden inside the meat slowly melt, spreading rich flavor through every bite. The muscle fibers haven't tightened enough to squeeze out moisture, so the steak stays juicy while delivering maximum tenderness. That combination is why medium rare has become the gold standard in restaurants around the world. But not every steak follows the same rules. The cut itself changes everything. A lean filet mignon behaves very differently from a heavily marbled ribeye. Wagyu beef, famous for its incredible fat content, often reaches its full potential at medium rather than medium rare. The slightly higher temperature allows even more marbling to melt, creating the buttery texture that made Wagyu famous worldwide. This surprises many first-time steak enthusiasts. They assume medium automatically means overcooked. In reality, experienced chefs adjust cooking temperatures based on the specific cut sitting on the grill. The goal isn't following a universal rule. It's bringing out the best qualities of that individual steak. As the temperature rises toward medium, the texture gradually becomes firmer, the pink center grows smaller, and more juices remain locked inside the melted fat instead of the muscle fibers. When done correctly, medium can deliver an incredibly rich and satisfying bite that many people actually prefer. Of course, opinions become much stronger once the conversation reaches well done. For some diners, cooking every trace of pink out of a steak simply feels safer or more familiar. Others believe it destroys everything that makes premium beef special. This debate has filled restaurants for decades, and chefs often have surprisingly strong opinions about it. The reason is simple. As temperatures continue climbing, muscle fibers contract more aggressively, squeezing out moisture that can never return. The meat becomes firmer, less juicy, and many of the subtle flavors created by natural fats begin disappearing. That's why expensive cuts are rarely recommended well done. Much of what you're paying for is literally cooked away. Yet history shows that personal preference has always mattered more than culinary rules. Millions of people genuinely enjoy well-done steak, proving that taste is ultimately subjective, no matter what professional chefs might say. But while some people avoid any trace of raw beef, others take things in the complete opposite direction. And that leads us to one of the world's most misunderstood dishes: steak tartare. Steak tartare contains no cooking at all. Instead of placing the beef on a grill, chefs finely chop premium cuts by hand and combine them with ingredients like capers, onions, mustard, Worcestershire sauce, herbs, and a fresh egg yolk. To someone unfamiliar with the dish, it may seem risky, but in fine dining, it has been celebrated for generations. Because there is no heat to kill bacteria, everything depends on freshness, cleanliness, and careful preparation. Restaurants that specialize in tartare use exceptionally fresh beef, handled under strict food safety standards. When prepared correctly, the result is surprisingly delicate, buttery, and packed with pure beef flavor that cooking can never completely reproduce. Its origins remain surrounded by fascinating stories. One famous legend claims Mongol horsemen stored raw meat beneath their saddles while riding long distances, allowing it to soften before eating. Although historians debate whether that story is true, modern steak tartare became popular in French restaurants during the 19th century and eventually spread across the world as a symbol of classic European cuisine. While tartare celebrates simplicity, another famous steak combination became famous for an entirely different reason. For decades, ordering surf and turf was considered the ultimate display of luxury. Pairing a perfectly cooked steak with lobster, shrimp, or another expensive seafood wasn't simply about flavor. It became a statement of wealth. During the mid-20th century, high-end restaurants promoted the combination as the ultimate celebration meal because only a small percentage of diners could afford both premium beef and premium seafood on the same plate. That reputation continues today. Even though prices and menus have changed, surf and turf still carries an image of celebration, success, and special occasions. It's one of those dishes people often save for birthdays, anniversaries, or major life events. Ironically, one of the world's greatest steak meals came from the complete opposite idea. Steak frites wasn't created for wealthy diners. It was designed for hard-working people who wanted a filling, satisfying meal at a reasonable price. The combination of steak and crispy fries became incredibly popular in Belgium before spreading into French bistros, where it quickly became a staple. The recipe was brilliantly simple. Affordable cuts such as hanger steak or skirt steak were cooked quickly over intense heat, served alongside freshly fried potatoes, and finished with a rich butter, peppercorn, or herb sauce. There were no expensive ingredients or elaborate presentation, just quality cooking that allowed simple ingredients to shine. Over time, steak frites earned international recognition not because it was luxurious, but because it proved that great food doesn't always require premium prices. Even today, many chefs believe a perfectly cooked steak with crispy fries is one of the most satisfying meals ever created. What's fascinating is that every one of these traditions reflects something much larger than food itself. Your steak order tells a story about history, culture, science, and personal preference all at once. Every temperature changes the chemistry inside the meat. Every cooking style reflects decades, sometimes centuries, of culinary tradition. Even the side dishes beside your steak carry stories of social class, regional identity, and evolving tastes. So the next time someone asks how you'd like your steak cooked, remember that you aren't simply choosing a temperature. You're choosing between centuries of tradition, scientific precision, and culinary philosophy that has evolved across generations. Whether you enjoy your steak blue, rare, medium, or well done, there isn't one universally correct answer. The best steak is ultimately the one you genuinely enjoy eating. Understanding the science simply helps you appreciate why each style creates such a different experience. If you enjoyed uncovering the hidden history behind one of the world's most iconic meals, make sure to subscribe to the Explanation Hub, give this video a thumbs up, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next deep dive into the fascinating stories hiding behind everyday life. And before you go, let us know in the comments, how do you order your steak, and has today's video changed your mind? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.